Hey everyone, this is KARAC Hendriks. Welcome to my podcast. I was going to call it This Road Is Mine, but I thought that would be very obvious and cheesy, although it may actually work. Here I've got my boy Cohen Hendriks across the table.
Yes, hello.
What's up, bud? Okay, so this is the inaugural episode. We're just working on some of the technical bugs. It is work in progress.
Episode 0.5.
Yeah. Jamie, can you check that and see if it says 0.5? As you'll probably note, my fellow listeners here, we're going to have a lot of references to other podcasts. I was going to do that riff. Actually, I could do that right now. Maybe I'll do that for my... what's his name? Oh, yeah, Mark Maron.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, or and Ben Shapiro's podcast is just like a diminished seventh chord. It's like
yeah. Of course, yeah. So we'll be looking for theme song. We'll be looking for a number of little things that are going to be a lot of fun. I was also going to go welcome, but because that's John Oliver. But but then another great podcast, Bob Lefsetz, he also stole the welcome. So we can't be using that. So this is going to be fun. We're going to try and keep this weekly. And as it is a work in progress, we're going to be, updating certain things. Hopefully going to get the video component going here right away. In fact, I was spending a lot of time tweaking the video side, and then, of course, forgot that really the audio interface situation wasn't so hot. So, but we're downstairs in the basement here in lovely Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. We are... in the basement, we have a lot of vinyl, a lot of books, a lot of magazines, and of course everything that you would want is on the internet. So we're going to be using vinyl as a bit of a launching pad. Got to do a quick shout out to our friends at Vinyl Me Please, the amazing record club. I actually threw down my hard-earned Canadian dollars, which got converted to US, so I of course got kicked in the butt there, but it's an amazing thing. I'm not one of those guys that says, vinyl, it sounds so much better. I mean, it does in a way. Yeah, it kind of does, yeah. Although technically, like the technology around with digital is amazing, but there is a warmth to the vinyl. It's like good vinyl anyway. There was some pretty crappy vinyl too. I'll never forget, I had a copy of, I think I got rid of it, but Tina Turner's live record called Tina Live, came out in 88. The problem is it was like a 60-minute album, right? So there was like 30 minutes aside. So the more music you jam on one side, the less bass they can have. So it was just a thin, crappy sounding vinyl. Plus they were trying to flip everyone over to CDs because the record labels are making double dough.
I guess.
Yeah, it was a real sham. We really kicked ourselves in the behind there in the industry with that, but...
I wasn't alive. I was in your...
who knows where you were. Floating in the ether.
Yeah.
Maybe you were reincarnated or something.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about the reincarnation aspects of...
Maybe Kurt Cobain. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
There you go. Yeah.
I'd like to think.
Well, sure, and your little cousin Isla there, she dressed up as Kurt Cobain for Halloween this year.
Oh.
Yeah, she had little chucks and
hopefully she lives a different lifestyle.
Hope so. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully nowadays everyone can just talk through their issues. But oh well, it gave us some great music anyway. So the inaugural episode today, we're going to talk about a gal that, it's funny because I don't really. I mean, I like her and I've always respected her, but she's not necessarily like in my top, but. As far as country music goes, it's really hard to understate the importance of Loretta Lynn to the to the evolution of country music overall. You're not a big fan of country, are you, Cohen? Or what do you? Yeah. So
I don't have a very broad vocabulary of country albums.
Well, and then
Jason Isbell.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Which I have on vinyl.
That's not country anyway. Come on. We're talking like FGL.
Well, I guess like Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
There you go.
I remember years ago you told me that was could be considered the first country album, and one of my favorite country songs
country
would be,
rock album, exactly,
one of my favorite country songs would be You're Still on My Mind.
Oh yeah, that's sure, of course,
that's a good one.
That is on there, Graham Parsons was the forefather, I don't know, what do you call him, the godfather of country rock or whatever. So I just finally finished reading the book, a biography on Graham Parsons called 20,000 Roads, which is a quote from his song Grievous Angel. But so he was one of the people that really brought country music into a place where it wasn't so... what's the term I'm looking for? Like it can tend to be a little bit cornpone, like kind of hokey. Of course, originally it was called hillbilly music, and then once rock and roll came along, it just about wiped country music right off the face of the earth. But then one of our Lord and Saviors, Chet Atkins, basically reinvented country music Harold Bradley as well, but to help to popify country, which is still continuing to this day. It's funny, people, it's not country, but this debate has been happening for decades now.
Acoustic guitars and twangy Telecasters.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. But what Chet did is he actually took away some of that twanginess, and so people like Jim Reeves and Patsy Cline were very important in saving country music, because so they were able to keep some of the lyrical content, but and some of the styles, but then they would put like a string section on or whatever. And the reason I mentioned Patsy Cline in particular is so she was a huge influence on Loretta Lynn. So Patsy Cline died tragically quite young. Jamie, if you can pull up that. Sorry, we needed Jamie. Sorry, I guess,
Alexa.
Yeah, Alexa. We have to pull up the data on Patsy Cline. There's a movie called Sweet Dreams if you ever want to check that out. But anyway, Loretta Lynn. Yeah, the reason I brought this up is because I was able to get a really good deal on this. So this album that I've got here is called Coal Miner's Daughter. She has piles of records, probably 40 albums. This one was a ways into her career. It is. It's more about the title than anything. Of course, the song is one of her. It's her autobiographical song. She was a great songwriter. Part of the allure of her songs is that she was always willing to write about things that were not. They were a little rough around the edges, so she didn't sugarcoat a lot of things. One song in particular, one title is called "You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man."
It's a pretty long title.
Yeah. She's. Even if you read through just the titles of her singles, I just pulled up the wiki, so this all has to be correct because it's wiki, right? So,
of course.
Her first single coming out in 1960. I'm a honky tonk girl. Okay, Heartaches Meet Mr. Blues. All right. She definitely, she was rolling around doing her thing. Her husband, in the movie, we'll get to that in a sec. The biography movie that came out in 1980. They talk about how, they show how like her husband was. His name's Dewey, and he would basically drive her from radio station to radio station, and they would just drop off these records and try and get them to play her.
When was that?
That was in the early '60s. Yeah,
jeez.
Yeah, they would just it was just guerrilla warfare, just trying to get their stuff in there. But one of her the singles that I know of best is a song called "Blue Kentucky Girl." There's an album the same name in 1965. The reason I know that, of course, is like a lot of my country music history, it comes through the Graham Parsons connection. Emmylou Harris did a version of it and actually named her album Blue Kentucky Girl as well, and I think it was 79 or 80 as well. But yeah, this one here, You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man, that's when she really started leaning in. But her next single, which I just love this title, Don't Come Home A-Drinkin' With Lovin' On Your Mind.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Well, yeah.
Relevant advice.
No, for sure. And because he's going to get slapped around if he's being a jerk.
Presumably, yeah.
I like her Christmas single here, To Heck With Old Santa Claus. Yeah. So realize I haven't heard a lot of these songs, but I've definitely heard some of them. This is another one of the greats right here. Fist City. So basically, if you're basically she's gonna kick the crap out of.
She seems very aggressive. Like I don't know what her home life was like. Well, she's a coal miner's daughter, so that probably has something to do with it.
Getting to that, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So actually, this is all pretty good here. So under the wiki, we've got. Lynn wrote Fist City in response to a woman who began pursuing her husband, Dewey, right? Okay. While Lynn was frequently touring in Tennessee. So Yeah, she's a tough gal. I think they had a lot of kids and the whole bit, so pretty amazing. But you know, it's really hard to. Oh yeah. Check this one out.
You just stepped in.
No.
Oh.
Your squaw is on the warpath. So that's a squaw is like kind of definitely not a great term nowadays, but it implies a First Nations woman.
Oh, okay.
And warpath was would imply like the Cowboys versus Indians. So
okay.
Your squaw is on the warpath.
Okay.
So a song that wouldn't get made today.
Probably
that's for sure. No, it's too triggery, But yeah, we're coming up here on 1970, Coal Miner's Daughter. The single was actually released at the end of 1970, and then the album came out. I guess it'd be around this time of year. That's why I picked it. So this album's 50 years old now, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. And of course, our friends at Vinyl Me Please have done just a fantastic job of this reissue. I can't wait to get the visuals on this. So, but you can just use your imagination.
ASMR. Just listen.
Yeah, just listen quietly.
Careful. The artwork on the back's very nice.
Yeah, there should be a story around that. All of the main titles are on Vinyl Me Please. Yeah, this wasn't part of the album.
That's cool.
Yeah, this was an actual painting by someone named John Vogel from Denver, Colorado. And Vinyl Me Please has a really cool way of connecting with the people that subscribe to their stuff. They invite you to create artwork to go with certain albums, or just to submit your artwork that's inspired by music. And another interesting thing too is here it is. This is what we call an Obi strip.
Oh yes, yeah, when you got your first, I think when you got the John Mayer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So Obi strips were used initially for import records. So if the language, this would be all in, like, let's say Japanese or whatever. Right. But on their Obi strips, so it tells you a little bit about the album there, and then on the inside there's a drink that goes along with the record.
Oh, okay.
We talk about grabbing a cigar and
right. And well, I mean, I suppose that could be with the visuals, like making the.
You could make a whole thing out of it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I really haven't checked their. The channel for Vinyl Me Please lately. I think they do some unboxing videos a little bit, but I don't think they get too far into the muck. I think they let us nerds do that for them. So this is Loretta Lynn and Daughter's Margarita. So that gives you the recipe on how to create this specific margarita. So if only I drank more, I would actually try it. So that's a reissue of Loretta Lynn's album Coal Miner's Daughter. And if we crack this open here.
She's alive still?
She is still alive, and actually when your mom and I went to Nashville in 2009 for a little vacation, on our way to Memphis, we stopped at Loretta Lynn's ranch. She has it's right between Nashville and Memphis, and she had a beautiful spot where her old place is, and then they basically turned it into a tourist attraction. So you just paid a small fee, and you could walk around and look at this cool acreage that she and Dewey had built. And
do you have pictures of it?
Yeah, I think I think we took pictures. They'd be all in our Google Photos by now, I suppose.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience because she doesn't live right at that site anymore, but not too far from there. There's actually like a newer house that you could kind of drive. We actually drove around and kind of took a look. I don't think we were supposed to, but we didn't go knock on the door and say hi. But Loretta's that's the one thing you'll find about country music is that the fans and the artists they're definitely some boundary issues going on. Like they don't. Yeah. But that's part of the charm. That's what really keeps country music so engaging and keeps the fans.
Right.
Is they always had a thing. They still have it. It used to. Well, it's called Fan Fest. I think they might have had a different name before. I'm drawing a blank on that. But you'd actually go, stand in line, and get a handshake, and
that's cool.
Apparently, Loretta, up until when we were visiting, would stop by that site and and
that's sweet.
Bring food over. Yeah, she's a real person, and all these stars are.
It's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is in blue vinyl. This is
nice.
Really nice. Yeah, there was a time colored vinyl used to not be as good a quality. It may still be that way. I'm not sure, but I think they've got that dialed in now pretty good. But it used to be more of a novelty. Like you'd get the colored vinyl just so you could say you had it, right? Or there was also picture discs too. There would be like an image inside. And now they're actually doing etchings right on the vinyl, which I don't own any of them yet. But I know, for instance, like Letter to You, the new Springsteen record, it's technically a double vinyl, but it's only on 3 sides. So the 4th side actually has like an etching with a picture on it.
So what happens if you put the needle on it? Does it just spin it?
It wouldn't even spin. I think it would just really sound pretty awful.
It's a Springsteen record, so I'm sure it couldn't.
Well, no, that's true. Yeah, even the etching side would probably sound pretty good. Yeah, exactly. But Loretta Lynn's a very you can see, as you can see by some of these titles. I mean, even if you keep going down, You're Looking at Country. That was another big one of hers. One's on the Way. That's about like having lots of kids. Just had one and one's on the way. Right. Rated X. Yeah, that's a kind of. Shadrach the Black Ranger. I've never heard that one. I'm sure there's a story on that. The Pill. So this is 1975. She was singing about So these are women that still were very traditional in a lot of ways, but they were also part of the feminist movement.
Well, that was 75.
Yeah. So it was well underway by then, but
she does seem like she's got some politically motivated tracks. Well, Red, White, and Blue, The Pill. There was something about Uncle Sam, and I assume it's
it probably loving Uncle Sam. I presume, unless it was about maybe she had an Uncle Sam. I don't know, but we'd have to start listening to it. But The Pill, in particular, if you think about. So now, in today's context with politics, you'd think that would be more of a left-leaning thing. But then she's also talking about family values and just standing by your man. She, of course, that was time right now, but she stuck with Dewey as far as I know right through. I guess the Wiki Machine could fill us in on that. But the movie is the coolest way to get the full story. It was originally based on her book. She did an autobiography or a biography that she worked in. I think it came out in 76, right? And then the movie came out in 1980.
Oh, speaking of 76, that'd be another good podcast episode.
Just the year alone, yeah.
Best year of music,
well,
possibly.
I have a hard time disagreeing with that. Although I always say 77, I think 76 probably is the better year. Yeah, I think I'd have to give you that one. Yeah, but I do have it on DVD here with the 25th anniversary edition on DVD. And Sissy Spacek played Loretta Lynn, and Tommy Lee Jones played Dewey. And then this was one of the first acting roles of another Lord and Savior, Lee Von Helm, from the band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he ended up acting quite a bit. He's also in a movie called The Right Stuff. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, really cool. Well, Robbie Robertson ripped him off. He had to make money somehow, right? So,
I'll pretend to understand that.
Yeah, well, that's a whole story we can get into when we get into more of the band. But basically, the band was 5 guys, and Robbie Robertson was the main songwriter, but at least that's what the credits say. But a lot of people question that, did he really write all of those songs? Basically, he was just the one that didn't do drugs and drink. They were the rest of them are all strung out. So then he was able to just kind of keep a lid on things. So
it has its value.
Well, it does, yeah. And clearly he's the one reaping the financial rewards. But when Levon's book came out, This Wheel's on Fire, he really slammed Robbie because of the... we wrote those songs too, and I'm sure they did contribute a lot. Probably more than the credits say, but songwriting formally is more than just arrangements and things. But so the Levon's in that movie as well. It's a really good movie, and it actually launched a bit of a singing career. Sissy Spacek came out with a solo album in 1983 called "Hanging Up My Heart," produced by one of my heroes, Rodney Crowell. Not a great record. Sissy wasn't a great singer in my opinion, but just definitely an interesting little country rock curio of the 80s. But the movie's great, yeah. It did, and this movie had a big impact on Jack White. Jack White
really
is a huge fan of Loretta Lynn, and so much so that he produced her 2004 record. What's it called? See, I am running off the top of my head. I'm not with a computer in front of me. Family Rose, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Portland, Oregon was a duet song.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and there's the cover of it. He's actually on the
that's cool
on the set. I think that might be actually at her old place. It was a good record. Yeah, it was, it was kind of a little rough around the edges, definitely White Stripesy, but with Loretta singing, and she can keep up. She's comes from a long line of female singers that can really like sing well live right up until the end. Now she is, if I recall, about 88 years old.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she's we're still lucky she's alive. She's recorded a few things since then, but this was definitely her sort of final stamp on creativity. But Jack White has talked about in interviews going to see Coal Miner's Daughter when he was a kid in the theater, and then just getting just in awe of
that's cool
of her, and ended up covering some of her material or one of her songs on a B-side or something. And there's a long history of that type of country music being revived through the channels of through other genres, I guess, because Jack White, like the White Stripes in particular, are very retro-minded, but
there are some almost operatic elements to like Lazaretto.
Definitely,
I remember when that came out.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm young enough to say that.
Yeah, back in the day,
that was good.
Before you could stream it, you had to actually buy the download. Yeah.
I think I did actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I bought the song at least, but
yeah. No, that was a groovy tune.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I could kind of see that, I guess.
Yeah.
Some of the acoustic melodies.
Exactly, especially when he plays acoustic and does some of his more acoustic bass songs, you can really hear the folk country side.
Beautiful stuff too.
Yeah,
I really like his voice. Yeah,
Jack's cool. Yeah, he's an interesting singer. Yeah, great guitar player. And just a really good music historian. I mean, he actually has some sort of a music club too. It's called.
Oh, really?
Well, Third Man Records is his record label. He lives in Nashville, has for a long time, and he owns like a lot of the really old equipment that like you can record on, like that they would have recorded back in the early 1900s. Right? Like, so
he's got I watched a rig rundown with him, and he's using a B bender.
Yeah.
But he also had a G bender.
Oh,
so it was basically just a B bender, obviously, and then a little whammy bar on the G string.
That's the push.
And I think he had an E bender too. Like, it was just super weird.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, he's a very creative guy. Yeah, and the visual component to the White Stripes always fascinated me too. Like, they would keep that red and white theme.
Yeah.
And then when he went solo, the blue and white became more of the color scheme.
That's true. Was it Blunderbuss?
Yeah, Blunderbuss and Lazaretto. Yeah, that was all kind of blue and black and white. And then that one tour he had, he took two bands on the road. One all-female band and one all-male band.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, because, of course, they were all amazing musicians. But, it was, I don't know, you can kind of read into that a little bit. It seems a little bit token, but, they were all amazing musicians.
Well, I had to read into the timeline of he and Meg's divorce.
Yeah,
with
his sister.
Yeah, well, it's very odd timing too. Yeah. I still don't even remember how that went down, but very odd.
Yeah, it was early on. I think they were romantically linked, and then I think they just stayed working together.
Well, yeah, they were married, if I recall, and they didn't say. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure before the White Stripes were over, they were already divorced.
I think so.
And they didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And I saw an interview. I think it was with Nardwuar, actually. Oh, no. And I love Nardwuar. Yeah. And he asked them, and they said they were siblings, if I recall.
Yeah.
I think it was an Nardwuar.
But I think
it was really old.
They would perpetuate that, too, which is great, right? There was, on a similar note to the band Heart, which we were just listening to before we started recording. Sisters, Anne and Nancy. But when they first came out, there was even this rumor that they were not only sisters, but they were romantically linked, like incestual, and that really ticked the girls off from what I read. But of course, the record label just kept going because it was promotion, right? It was
with Jack and Meg. I mean, they could have at least gone with step siblings. That's a little more acceptable.
Yeah. Well, certainly nowadays, apparently on some of these websites, but. Yeah, so there's a subcategory for everything. Yeah. That's what Howard Stern says anyway when he's.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like all legacy artists, there's a really good album. Like tribute records are often a place where it's definitely where I've been introduced to some of these acts, and then I've had to go back and check out the original stuff. So 2010, there's an album called Coal Miner's Daughter, a tribute to Loretta Lynn, and it featured a whole whack of really good artists, mostly female, but some males as well.
Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson. Yeah, Paramore. did U01
wow.
Yeah, really cool.
I love
Paramore. Really, he's amazing. What was
Kid Rock?
Yeah.
Nice.
he could just not do that. I liked Kid Rock when he would just rap. And now he thinks he can sing. It's so annoying. The White Stripes did Rated X. Okay. Carrie Underwood. You're looking at country. Yeah, that's. Most of these are exactly what you'd think they would sound like. Steve Earle and Alison Moore. That's they were married then. So After the Fire's Gone was a duet song that she did with Conway Twitty. So.
Nice.
The Time Jumpers Reba McEntire featuring the Time Jumpers. The Time Jumpers is Vince Gill's Western Swing band.
Okay.
Well, there's a number of amazing artists in the band, but you can go see them like every Monday night in Nashville. Play if you want. Lucinda Williams, that's amazing. And then this Loretta Lynn, Sheryl Crow, and Miranda Lambert doing the Coal Miner's Daughter.
Definitely have to check out that Paramore.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is one of those albums that at some point was not available on streaming, or only some of the songs were. But like a good bootlegger, I had a copy on my hard drive. But it may all be available now. But yeah, of course, YouTube, you can hear pretty much anything nowadays anyway. That would be really cool. Yeah, I really dig Paramore. Ain't It Fun is one of my favorite songs. Yeah, I've got the 4 playlists there on my Spotify. Like they're all available, all public playlists where I put the different types of like guilty pleasures and like songs that influence me and stuff that I'm digging right now. And then there's a collaborative one too, so the listeners can jump in there and check that out as well.
Is Paramore guilty pleasure?
Yeah, I put Ain't It Fun as a guilty pleasure.
A killer band.
Well, they actually are. Yeah, which is weird.
She's amazing. But Hayley Williams.
Yeah, great performer, and she's got a solo album out now too. I haven't actually listened, but
the guitar player is really the bass. Oh yeah, they're just all around.
Yeah, no, it was actually a good band. Yeah, they're one of the last like. Although I think they might play the tracks live, but everyone is nowadays, so I've kind of had to let that go. But yeah, so that's Coal Miner's Daughter. So what I did is, so for the Spotify listeners, we're going to drop in the songs here on the actual episode. We can play that, and I was even going to add a few more from Sissy Spacek's album, and then of course Sissy did her own versions of the songs for the movie as well. So she actually did the singing. It was a really good way, a really good story. It's. It's always been hard for the female singers to cut through, and she was fighting the good fight back in the late 50s, early 60s, and it's still happening today. I mean, it's not that I don't think it's that men want to keep them down, but it's hard. It's
hard for everyone.
It is hard for everyone. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But there's always been a bit of a creep element to the women. They casting couch stuff, and it's really, it sucks. But she was and of course on top of it, her husband was a bit of a
Well, looking at the track titles, it sounds like he was maybe not the most loyal partner.
Either he wasn't loyal, or he was just
very attractive.
Oh yeah, it's just so attractive. Well, Tommy Lee Jones played him. You'll have to
take your word for it.
Yeah, well, we could search that up and show our viewers, but.
I was also going to say that when you mentioned Conway Twitty, I always think of that image.
Kanye Twitty? Yes, I know.
That's why I chuckled. Yeah,
it's so
loud,
good. Yeah,
and obnoxious. It's very funny.
Yeah, and it's also funny too because his last name Twitty rhymes with something else that's also quite humor-inducing. Twitty.
Oh yeah. That took me a little longer than
Tin Twitties.
Yeah.
So Conway Twitty. Yeah, we could go down that rabbit hole a little bit too, but I wouldn't. I don't know.
Which one? Kanye or Conway?
Well,
I could do Kanye.
We will be going down the Kanye rabbit hole here pretty soon. You're going to take us through that in a future episode for sure. Conway Twitty, I don't know. I think we could do better than that. We've touched on it somewhat. They did a lot of duets in the 70s, Loretta and Kanye.
I wish.
Conway. Yeah,
Jeez, that might have to be a mashup now.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, I'd be surprised if there wasn't one already. But he was actually originally like a kind of an early rock and roll singer, and then ended up finding kind of new life as a country crooner. Had a great lot. I found this stuff pretty hokey, but definitely good singer, and good interpreter for sure. But Loretta Lynn, that's the one of my treats to myself through the Vinyl Me Please record club. I'm glad I got this. And we're going to be spinning this, probably making one of these drinks. It says this was her 15th LP. I mean,
jeez.
God, by 1971 she had that many records out.
When was she born?
That's a good question. I have that in a spreadsheet or on the wiki. Here, let's just go to the wiki machine and pull that up. Oh, she was born in 1932.
April 14th.
Yeah.
That's 2 days after your birthday.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Several years later, but...
Yes, earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
And Butcher Hollow, that's where she's from. She sings about that in the song Coal Miner's Daughter. So,
okay.
Yeah, you're gonna learn a lot. Okay. Well, I think that's probably enough. And get the bugs worked out of this thing. And I'm gonna listen back to this, and I'm gonna think, oh, I shouldn't do this, and I shouldn't do that. Trying to watch my ums and ahs.
It's that's really that's actually why that music reviewer Anthony Fantano, in his Nardwuar interview, he mentioned Nardwuar pointed out one of the reasons why he's so popular is because he's such a good speaker, and he noted that he's worked very hard to not say
Well, that is it's an art, and it's also something that if you have a pretty good idea of what you want to say, like. I'm not sure if this dude's like running a script or.
I don't know, actually. Probably a little, but it seems like because he obviously loves music. For sure, can't deny that. So I'm sure a lot of it is.
Well, at least some point for him as to where to go, and really that's what I should have done here. Where I'm staring right now at two blank notepads. Yeah. But at a certain point, I can see that would be the way to do it. Even Joe Rogan and those guys have some notes, I think. And of course, and then they have a Jamie too. So we could use a Jamie. I don't know.
And cannabis.
Well,
that doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, they go for a long 3 hours. Some of those episodes now. Yeah, that's crazy. Meanwhile, this one, I don't know where we're at here. Let me see. I don't know. Open up the... Oh, we're over at half an hour.
I love talking about music.
Yeah,
even if I don't know, I like listening.
Well, we'll try and do it weekly, and then we'll, you can teach me some things, and then...
Sure. I was just planning on which record I was going to show of mine, and I was just counting the time signatures.
Perfect,
Very strange music, but...
Yeah, no, that's an awesome... Yeah, what record are you going to bring to the table next?
I was going to start with Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar.
I could do that.
Or Remedy Lane by Pain of Salvation.
For sure. Well, what I've been doing, and just for listeners out there, I'm trying to keep this around anniversary dates, anniversaries of birth, so birthdays, or anniversaries of death, or anniversaries of when certain albums came out. So maybe you do a little bit of research, figure out which one will fit most appropriately for next week's show, and if there's a birthday or a release date or something.
And I think an album like Good Kid, Mad City always is constantly staying politically relevant, and more as time progresses.
Yep.
Remedy Lane is more of a personal, as with all of their 11 albums, they're all concept albums, so I think it's very relatable to a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and definitely one that not a lot of people have heard, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, it's important to share that. Do you have Passing Light Day on vinyl? I can't remember.
We got it for my friend.
Right.
Saying that because nobody will know his name.
He might be listening.
Well, if you are, you put me onto that.
No, that's right. Well, that's another thing that I'm going to be doing on these podcast episodes as well. Is that there's always a with my brain, I always associate people with songs or albums or. Where I was, it's always related back to
I like the
sound.
That's cool.
I don't have a lot of connection with Loretta Lynn in particular, other than obviously seeing the movie a couple times over the years, and then just knowing who she was, and then her through the late 80s and into the 90s, she was obviously a big influence on a lot of the female singers that came after her. So they would maybe do duets with her, or whatever. But with Sissy Spacek, I always think of my Auntie Doris and Uncle Grant, because they had the record, and that was the first time I had heard it. So
I could see them listening to that.
Well, it was that area. They were definitely. Grant had been playing a long time, and then he met Doris and around there, and they probably even learned some songs and did them live off that album. I'm not sure, but The Sissy Spacek record is not great. I'll add a few songs onto the playlist here, but it's just an interesting thing because she is one of the most, like, she's one of the best actresses in history, and but she also has a bit of a singing career too, or like to sing as well. So it's great that she
an old Drake.
Yes, that's right, in the wheelchair. Yes, we did see a clip of that last night. Had a good chuckle. Good.
I all the props to him though.
He did it.
Incredible.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to remember too, because he's in Toronto. Toronto, as we'll call it quickly.
Yes, the six.
Yeah,
he's the six god.
Yeah, from the six, as it were.
OVO.
But the entertainment industry is definitely more focused in Toronto or in Vancouver, and getting to be a little bit more in Calgary. But so for someone like that was just wanting to get into the entertainment industry, I presume that acting must have been something that he was interested in too. I don't know actually know about Drake.
Actually, I was just listening to him last night. One of his songs, track 16, if I recall, on Take Care, is Look What You've Done. It's about his grandma and his uncle and how they influenced his life. Beautiful song. It samples a piano piece of this like random YouTube. It's gorgeous. But yeah, he talks about what does he talk about?
They probably got him into...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's... I was just thinking of the lyrics. He talks about how he actually went from acting first to music after. Yeah. He said the lyric is like, told you either way I want to be a star. Like, I can go so far.
Yeah.
Because,
Awesome. Well, clearly talented guy and very...
most streamed artist of all time, so...
Yeah.
Must be doing something, right?
Definitely, yeah. Well, and that's the demographic of people that have historically been using streaming is the people that are more into that type of music too. So, but it's changing. Now we're getting to see streaming numbers catch up a little bit through classic rock and
definitely.
New country is definitely in there too because it's just another form of pop music.
Yeah.
So it always has been. So and there's the streaming world. So all right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks, bud. This is a good time. That was Colin. Sure. You got anything to promote?
Do I? Probably not.
All right. Okay.
I would also like to acknowledge though we should put a counter every time we say because I notice something we do say frequently is
Yeah, we'll listen back to it. We'll listen back to it and make some critiques.
Maybe a counter. Take a shot every time.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Or don't. Of water.
Yeah, that's right.
Or a squirt of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
promote safety and health.
The bleach.
Yeah.
Take a shot of bleach. Yeah. No, that's very interesting again. All right. Well, we'll get Jamie to put that in the show notes.
For sure.
And, all right. Well, this is KARAC HENDRIKS signing off. I'll talk to you next week. Spin that Loretta Lynn stuff. Get in it. Get on it. She's a treasure. She's still alive. So let's enjoy the fact that she is still alive because Lord knows how long that's going to be. I don't know what her health situation is lately. I know that June Carter and Johnny Cash's son, John Carter Cash, was working with her on a new album. I think it came out a couple of years ago, actually, but I didn't even bother checking it out. I'm sure it's fine, but there's a long history of since the 90s. So Rick Rubin is the one that rejuvenated Johnny Cash's career.
Oh, yeah.
And so now everyone, when they kind of go back to the well when they want to look for some sort of a rediscovery of some of these legacy acts. Porter Wagner did that. Marty Stewart produced that one. Actually, the Loretta Lynn album that Jack White produced is kind of in that vein too. It's like, let's get back to what you're known for and what you're best at instead of seeing these older artists try to keep up with current trends.
Like Green Day could maybe use
that. They could really use that. Yeah. Oh, well, this seems to work a little more on the folk country Americana side of things. When it comes to the rock act,
but Butch Walker produced anyone?
Yeah, Butch is actually one of the few guys that, if anyone could like do that, sort of get you back connected. Bob Rock as well. Did you ever see Some Kind of Monster? That's the Metallica movie.
No, I haven't.
It's I don't think I'll ever watch it again. But at the time, so they were recording that album Saint Anger, where they were.
Oh, that's the meme. Is the snare sounds like a trash can? Like.
And the toms sound like Rubbermaids. Yeah, right. It was horrible, but that was an attempt for Metallica to get back to who they were. They had just got rid of Jason Newsted, and they got the new bass player Robert Trujillo. But they actually had a therapist like on staff, and it's all in the movie. Yeah,
that's cool.
Like James and Lars, like just bawling, trying to get through it. Yeah, so it was laughable in a way because poor little rock star. But on the other hand, they are humans too, right? And they have this legacy. But that album was supposed to be okay. Let's get back to like. What we used to sound like, and so that's why it is a little bit thrashy even in the sound. It was intentional for sure. The next album was oh crap, what was the next album?
I'm not familiar enough with the Metallica discography.
The next one was, I think if I recall, probably a Rick Rubin production. It was another let's get back to it again. And it was okay, but I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Metallica anyway. So
they're like the as my friend who hopefully is listening to this, says that Metallica is the Nickelback of metal.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. Yeah. Completely. Yeah, that's a great analogy, for sure.
Agreed.
Florida Georgia Line is
totally.
The country, and I love them all.
In some way.
But I do know better. That's what I'm going to say. So.
That might be a guilty pleasure.
Well, exactly. And that's why my playlist array there through, if you I'll put this at KARACHENDRIKS.com/show notes. We'll get a little stream going there with some links to Vinyl Me Please so you can maybe get your own copy of Coal Miner's Daughter on colored vinyl. And I'll also put links to the Spotify playlists and anything else that we talked about too. Yeah,
sweet.
Fun. All right. Well, okay. Well, we'll talk to y'all next week.
Yes.
Peace.